Big long flow lines running through here and there. All right, well, there you go. She's all starting to spear through beautifully now. Look at that light. Magic. I feel like I've captured something there. I've got the light and shadow, the moody feel of the day, the beautiful sky. So we've got all this keyed down and I've put all the foreground in, all low keyed. Everything's all low keyed. And now I'm hoping there's going to be a bit of light spear where the sun's going to rise and light things up. Well, there we go. Got the shot. She's lit up nicely. Finally it came through. There was plenty of cloud and I was just hoping it was going to spear through. It's gone and done it, so we're all lit up lovely. Just like that. Beautiful. Fantastic, because without that light actually shining on Wilpena Pound there, the whole painting would have been dead. I was really counting on the fact that sooner or later the light was going to spear through one of the gaps in the clouds and light it up, and thankfully it's done it. All right, let's get this painting folded away. Alrighty, let's head off. Alright, well here we are on another trip. We've got a beautiful cottage here that I'm going to be staying at, camping at in the Flinders Ranges. Fantastic. I've got the vehicle here obviously. Got some great views and just a great location. Big fire ring and a beautiful old cottage. So should be a bit of fun. Let's see what we've got in here. Okay, we'll come through and have a look. Nice old cottage. Got a bit of a fireplace. A few chairs and tables, real basic stuff. Flagstone floor. Great little location to kick back for a few days and do a bit of painting and whatever else, have a bit of fun. All right, here we go. First things first, got to get the cuppa on the go. Once we've got that, then we're right, we can think about everything else, painting, whatever. Now I've got that beautiful little cottage there and that's fantastic, but being me and who I am, I love camping out and being on the ground, so I'm going to camp out here of course and not in there. So what I'm going to do is I've got the lovely backdrop of having that beautiful cottage and whatever else. And if it comes down with heaps of rain, I can also jump in there. But I want to camp out under the stars. I want to see the night sky. I want to really get involved with the whole landscape around me. So, got a little spot behind you guys where I'm going to set up the swag. Got the fire going here. There's a bit of a wind, so there's all these nice peppercorn trees here which are blocking the wind. So I've got a lovely sheltered spot. Up in front of the cottage is actually quite windy, and there's no way of getting out of the wind there, so it's actually more comfortable here. Right, so here we are. Cup of tea, then I'll go for a bit of a scout and work out what the afternoon painting's going to be. A little bit of milk. Okay. Cheers. Here's to a good painting trip. Ah, that is delicious. After driving all day to get here, that is just wonderful. All right, well, I'll do a quick afternoon painting, just a nice little impression. The mountains are lighting up nicely off and on. There's a bit of cloud around, so it comes and goes, but that's all right. We'll try and go with that. got a fairly long linen. This is a linen again, Belgian linen, but it's a little bit longer, a little bit more of a panoramic view. So that kind of suits the feeling of the ranges here, the way they go on and on forever each way. So I think that'll work out. All right, I'll just get a bit more paint on the palette and away we go. All right, I'll just go with a little bit of darkest darks. Got the Viridian green and Easel crimson makes a nice dark. Just work out what I'm going to do. A bit of a line through here, tree there. It's going to be a pretty simple composition. Taking paint off, pulling some of the sky off, I've got the dark shadows already underneath, so it picks them out, it picks the edge of the hill out. Putting in some of the lighter versions of the clouds. Lights come out, let's pull a bit across. Drop some white, Viridian green over here. White and Viridian green, half mix it with that stuff. Nice white key. Light spewing across. Came for a second and then went again. Magenta in there too. Stick some pale greens on, we'll just put a bit more blue with that. A bit more white. Well, we're starting to get something there. It's spearing light and shadow all the time. Getting a little bit of light licked across the hills. A nice cloud cover, a nice foreground shadow. We'll keep on working, I reckon, before it all disappears. It's a fleeting moment. She's all starting to spear through beautifully now. Look at that light. Magic. I feel like I've captured something there. I've got the light and shadow, the moody feel of the day, the beautiful sky, whatever else. I feel like it's all happening. All right, let's pack up and get back to camp. Great. Right, let's get this packed up. Oh, bit of a wobbly old site I'm working on today. Okay. Nice evening. The wind started to kick out. On the way here, the wind was blowing a gale. A head crosswind, which is the hardest one to get the plein air trailer up here. She drags like anything in that wind. It's not exactly aerodynamic. But anyway, we got here in time for the sundown. Beauty. I just got to get this thing right. Wow, It's all happening around me. There's a great view over there. I'd love to show you that one, but I'm in the middle of this. All right, let's make a move. All right, here we go. Back to camp. Look at that view behind us there. All through around here. All out this way. Beautiful stuff, eh? Right, let's get going. The wind's died down, like I said, which is good. I had to get on the edge of a ridge here. Can you see I'm on a ridge? And that ridge, the wind was going over the top of me, so I was fairly protected. But should get a bit stronger when I come back over as we're heading back to camp. As you can see, I don't know if you can hear the wind in that or not. I've got a fairly good Rode microphone to block out the wind, but I think it's blowing pretty strong. Don't know if you can hear it or not. Anyway, look at that beautiful stuff. Down there's our little cubby. There's our little cottage down there by the dry creek with the gums. And there's Wilpena Pound, which is a beautiful, beautiful subject at this time of day, as you may already know or may not know, I'm not sure. Anyway, sun's setting over the open plains there, because what's happening is we're right on the edge of the Flinders Ranges here. So looking out that way, you're looking out into the western plains where the sun's setting, and then you've got the mountain ranges are starting up themselves through here and glowing. Fantastic stuff, eh? Beautiful. Right, let's go. Here we go. Home sweet home. Beautiful. All right, here we are, back. How does it look, eh? Let's have a look, eh? Alrighty. Yeah, alright, so we'll get some flour. Make about a cup, I reckon. And just straighten that up a little. Add a cup of flour should be good. What do we got? There we go. That'll do it. Now I'm just going to mix up. Some people use butter, I'm just going to use olive oil. A couple of these. Gives it a nice flavour. 1, 2. Just get that oil mixed in a little. Broken up a tad. Alright, so I'm just going to add the milk now. I'll just add a bit at a time, you don't want too much. And the secret here is to use a knife. Use a knife and spin it around and you'll get all those little lumps and bumps. And what we do is we keep slowly adding the milk until those little lumps just turn into one, and as soon as they turn into one, you know you've got the perfect amount of moisture. So that'll need a little bit more, obviously. And the reason I do a bit of it at a time is because it's so easy to go overboard and add too much, and then you've kind of got the wrong blend, so it doesn't get the perfect consistency when it's cooked. This way it always gets the right amount of moisture. It's going to need a tad more. Just keep doing that. Now before you get too keen on adding more, just keep spinning it for a while, because they start coming together. You can see that what's happening here. It's coming into the one lump, which means I've probably got the right amount of moisture now. I was just about to add a little more. It looks like this is going to be the right amount. So, saying all that, I reckon we're good to go now. Take it across to the camp oven, see what we can do with it. I might just add, I'll just sprinkle a little bit of flour over it. A little bit of flour on the base and over it. That way I'll be able to press it down to about the right consistency, or the right thickness. Now this is going to cook quickly like a scone. This will cook in 8 to 10 minutes. And that seems to make it rise the best. So, all good. So the chief one is get the lid really hot, bung it on a few coals just to maintain the heat. 8 to 10 minutes, done. Let's just preheat that oven. Alright, there's plenty of heat there, that'll cook really quick. We'll give that 8 to 10 minutes and it'll be good as gold. Alrighty, what a little beauty. Cooked lovely. We've got those crisscrosses so you can open her up. She breaks right on the line and you get lovely little cubes, or not cubes, yeah, maybe whatever they are. They break open and you've just got lovely little bite-sized pieces. Fantastic stuff. Alright, well that seemed to work out, you little ripper. Now I might just cut her open and give it a taste test. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's got some beautiful jam for the occasion, so we'll get stuck into that. Lovely strawberry jam. Beautiful stuff. Fantastic, look at that. Put plenty on. It's always nice to eat it when it's still warm, steaming away. Let's just like having scones and cream, except there's no cream. It's exactly like a scone. Beautiful. Going to get a bit of blue, thin it down with a little bit of a medium. Just want to work out, I might just lighten her off a bit with a bit of white. Just going to do a quick, because it's quite a complicated thing, these folds, just going to do a quick feel of what I want. I want the picture to end up down about here. It's a beautiful long profile we're working with, really long Belgian linen, and I got it white primed, so she's all good. I'm just trying to get the feeling of this. So that'll be the major hill there. Scoop down there. Yeah, something like that. Big long flow lines running through here and there. Alright, well that's the basic shape and form. There's a few folds coming down in here, lovely. We've got the basic shape. Should be a lovely painting, a little bit of cloud shuffling around. Alright, there's your basic composition. So we've got a great flow leading running along the range from closer here right off into the nunga 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 nunga, out into the never never, so that should be good. I'll get into the palette knife work now, and what I'll do is I'll get a few darks. There's not a lot of darks in this particular composition, but I'll put a few darks in just to establish a tonal value, so it allows me to know how dark to go back into the distance. Alright, so I'll get some alizarin crimson, viridian green, that'll make a pretty good dark. Just on this sand, there's a little bit of a sand dune here. I'll just get a bit more red. It's always good to have a bit of that. Just going to establish a few darks and I'll paint over them, but it's good to put them in. It's good to feel them in. And once they're there and you paint over them, you just leave us a suggestion of it. Alright, okay, change tack, go for some white, get some ultramarine blue. I've got a phthalo blue and an ultramarine blue here, so I'll get some ultramarine blue, phthalo blue. Now I want to grey it off a bit, so I'll use a bit of burnt sienna, which is the opposite on the colour wheel, that'll knock it back. And a bit of magenta just to make it a bit warmer, because the burnt sienna turns it ever so slightly green. The magenta brings it back more to a neutral kind of value that I'm after, with a little bit more red in it. Okay, so let me just get an idea of what's actually going on here. So that'll be there. Shift that one in there. It is such a complicated system we got going on through here, but that's all right, it's all part of it. Okay, so it's a bit more white. There's a layer of mountains just here, but then there's another layer just behind it. Just lighten that value ever so slightly. Going on nicely, a little bit more white. I'll just use a bit more of that medium, make it slightly runnier. Don't normally do that, but because it's sitting there on the side of the pallet, I thought I'd go for it. Okay, so that's that. Right, let's just go for a bit of red, iridium green, darkening the value now. When I say red, I mean magenta, iridium green. There's some hills, magenta, burnt sienna, slightly darker value, iridium green. There's some mid hills in here. So I'll just put their value in, which is slightly darker. It's somewhere in between the foreground and in the middle ground. In tonal value, a little bit lighter. Okay, so we'll lighten that tone even further as we go back and back and back. It really does drop off as it gets further away. It's going on nice. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna, all those blues, bit of magenta to knock it back a bit. Look at that go on. It's the thing about the knife, you can apply plenty of paint. It's going on lovely. More yellow ochre, more burnt sienna, more of those sky blues all mixed in. There's also a few saltbush colours. There's some nice bushes that have this yellow ochre type colour to them. I can hear an aeroplane. Scenic flights, I guess. Alright, so we've got these, like I said, these yellow ochre type plants. And then we've got more of these saltbush ones as well, which I'll start blocking in a minute. They'll be more of those grey blues, that beautiful saltbush colour. Chuff a few of them in. And for a bit of colour variety. I'm purposely leaving gaps, and that'll be where the red earth goes, so that'll come in nicely. There'll be a lovely complementary colour, the warm against the cool. Alright, bit of alizarin crimson, yellow ochre. Let's get some of this dirt. Now we need a bit of white to lighten the value up. Yellow ochre, red and yellow. I use a bit of cat orange. We've got to intensify the chromatic saturation, so we'll use some pure orange as well. Let me just have a look what colour we've got here. That's nice. Put bits of that in here and there. Put that on, get a coverage. Get the paint, get the coverage, and then work out what you're going to do after that. Let's go for the biggest differences, and the biggest differences currently are that there's a big chunk of white up here that doesn't quite look right. We're going to get rid of it. More blue, ultramarine and phthalo. More ultramarine, more white. Get the coverage going. Nice. Alright, let's change tack a bit. We'll get a brush. Take all this yellow ochre down closer to those mountains. There is so much canvas here, it's a very big one, as you can probably see. There's a lot of sky. But we'll just keep going up, blending this brush. It's going good. I'm pulling down so I don't shove the paint under the tape. If I push upwards, I may actually shove the paint underneath the tape, so I'm pulling down. What I'm trying to do is put that haze, which is on top of the blue. The mountains are blue, but at the same time, there's the haze from the particles in the air on top of that, and they're giving it that kind of yellow ochre, burnt sienna type of colour over the top of the blue. Like so. That's about right too. Painting the light source over these shadows. Wow, that's lovely stuff. It's just so much distance, it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, beautiful. Get a bit more as we get closer to the foreground ones here, we'll just get a bit more of the stronger colours. So there's a bit more yellow ochres, a bit more of the foliage colours and less of the atmospheric colours. So there's a bit more of the yellow ochres, burnt siennas and whatever else. That is one of the dominant peaks, that one there. Make sure you get that one right. To darken it and bring it further closer forward, because there's just layer after layer here. These subtle layers want a bit more magenta because we're going even another layer closer. That's nice, yep. Yellow ochre and white. Beautiful. Got a bit of heat to her. Nice. Just get a bit of pure white and yellow ochre, just a little bit of yellow ochre with that. I'm going to have to get some clean white out, we're just about run out of that white. Even though I put that massive chunk of white on, I'm almost out of it. Where the light's really hitting those contours. Alright, so we'll just put in a little bit more of these highlights, pick out. We've got the big impression now, so what I'm doing is I'm picking out a few more finishing highlights and stuff on the hills to really start to bring it out. I'll put a bit of red in that. There's a bit of red in those out there, it's really nice. There's so many different colour variances in the subtleness of the whole thing. Actually a slight pinky kind of red up here. Just got to get the value right. I need a little bit more white, but not too much. That's kind of knife on edge, that beautiful pink colour. We'll put it out there. That's lovely stuff. bit more white, light than that in the distance there. It's got to be more blue than that too, so it's not very... There we go. Well, things are definitely coming along now. I'm starting to get happy with what's going on. We've got some beautiful subtle variances going on near to far. Some nice contrasts just here as well to really pull the painting up, and then those blues that go off forever into the distance. The lovely ochre in the sky. A few highlights of clouds. More highlights in here. A little bit lighter in tonal value. So many subtle colours, and when you start to put them in, you get that lovely warm and cool contrast. All right, I reckon I'll leave it at that. Now I've just pulled the camera around a bit more so you can see it more straight on. I feel like I've really caught the essence of the subject. I'm really happy. I'm loving all the subtle variances and tonal values as the near to far happens. So we've obviously got these big oranges and dark values here to pull it right up, going into these different layers, and then goes off and off further and further and further into the pale blues. But even in this range here, we've got kind of a foreground one and then one just behind it. So it's a little bit darker shadows just here, and it drops off to a paler blue just behind it, and then gets really pale blue and off it goes. Also, there's so many variants and subtleties in those hills themselves. There's not just the light and shadow. There's warm ochre colours, there's magentas, then you get the pale green foliage, violets, there's all sorts of subtle things. So when the light plays on all that, and the fact that it's drifting off further and further, it's such a play of interesting colours and tonal values. I really, really enjoyed that. There was a lot of ochre in the sky today, so I really played up on that. Because we're kind of looking into the sun a bit, the sky's filled up with ochre. That blue with that ochre really gives the feeling of that distance and full sunny day. Pretty happy with that. A few really high key orange accents just to pull it forward and pull your eyes into the subject on those sand dunes just here. So riching that up, and that's pulled it right up because the whole picture is about near to far, foreground to distance, and just going on and on and on. Pretty happy with what's going on. Let's get that camera off. We'll come buzzing right in. You guys can have a look and see what you think. All right, thank you. Alrighty then, that was a bit of fun. That back in the game. Here's cheers to a successful day, successful painting. Love that big picture. Alrighty, it's the last light. The last light, look at that beautiful glow on the old cottage. And there's just fantastic magical colours everywhere. She's glowing everywhere. We've got the range over there. The gum tree's glowing, absolutely glowing. And of course Wilpena Pound off in the distance with the kind of magenta glow about it. It's beautiful the way these mountains get this kind of magenta look right in the last light. And there's the sun setting over there, over the open plains. Fantastic. On the whole, just a beautiful location. A great location to be painting and camping. Alrighty. Now where's my cup of tea? Here it is, back here. All right, well, it's that time of day again. Time to get some dinner on the go. I cooked up a whole lot for lunch, as you saw, so I've got plenty left for that. Heat some of that up later on and good as gold. That's what I love about having big cook-ups in the middle of the day. When you get back to camp exhausted from all the painting, you don't have to think about it. It's all there. One more cup of tea and then dinner time and then hit the sack. Get up nice and early. It's a clear day. Nice and early tomorrow morning and hopefully get a nice shot. There was all fog this morning, as you saw, so I couldn't get the shot, couldn't do a painting, but there's some beautiful compositions around here, so I know that if we get the morning light and there's no mist in the way, we'll get a beautiful view of Wilpena Pound. Absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to that one. Right, let's get this going. All right, well, it's a bit of a moody morning. There's a front coming in again. I can see all the high level cloud, or actually a lot of level clouds have come in. So we've got all this keyed down, and I've put all the foreground in, all low keyed. Everything's all low keyed. And now I'm hoping there's going to be a bit of light spear where the sun's going to rise and light things up, because there is patches in the clouds. So hopefully we get a nice piece of light licking across Wilpena Pan in the distance there. Beautiful mountain range. All right, low key, just waiting now, waiting for the sun. Just putting a little bit of these blue clouds that are starting to wisp in. Lighten that value. Well, there we go. Got the shot. She's lit up nicely. Finally it came through. There was plenty of cloud and I was just hoping it was going to spear through. It's gone and done it, so we're all lit up lovely. Just like that. Beautiful. Fantastic, because without that light actually shining on Wilpena Pound there, the whole painting would have been dead. I was really counting on the fact that sooner or later the light was going to spear through one of the gaps in the clouds and light it up, and thankfully it's done it. You little ripper. All right, let's pack this up. First we'll come in and have a close look, then we'll pack up and get back to camp. Okay. Alright, let's get this painting folded away, and away we go. A bit chilly, I've got the gloves here. I started painting with the gloves, but then I end up taking them off because I find them so restrictive. The warm gloves, that is. I'll stuck them back on because it is absolutely freezing. There's a real cold wind blowing. A little bit of a glow on the hill again. Yeah, I mean I can paint, but as I'm sort of rubbing paint off with the palette knife and rubbing it onto the paper towel and whatever else, I find it a bit restrictive. Easier to create with the gloves off. Anyway, so it's all good. Got that one done, which I'm pleased about. And now we're ready to roll. Whoa. Alrighty, let's head off. Okay, well there you go, a bit of fun. Another one in the bag. Interesting, she's lit up again. Wilpena's lit back up again. Interesting subject, Wilpena Pound. It's such a rugged mountain range. And when you get the right light and atmosphere on it, it really turns into magic. We managed to get just that spear of light at the right time, thankfully, so we're all good. But yeah, there's definitely another front on the way. Some clean atmosphere though. I don't know if you can see. We'll have a look over this way. That's where I painted yesterday, that range. Look how clean and blue it is. There's no mist this morning like yesterday morning. For this time of day, first thing in the morning, it's actually a really clean atmosphere. We'll just get back up to here. And you'll see that the open plains, where are we? The open plains are freakishly blue and clean. The sky's got a bit of green tinge in it, clear atmosphere. Really clear outback atmosphere, but it's also usually the sign, I've found, of a front coming in. You get your clearest atmospheres when there's a front about to hit. Look at Wilpena over there, beautiful. Wow. Alright, here we are back at home sweet home, the old cottage. There's Wilpena. We've got a great view of Wilpena here too. You can see it through over the other side of the gum trees there. Beautiful stuff. I'll get this one back to camp and have a quick look at it. See how she looks. Whew. Yep, she's still chilly. Here we are. I might just put all this stuff up on the cottage here. We'll stick the pallet. Oops. Stick the pallet over here. There we go. Oh, it's stuck on my shoulder. Right. I'm going to stick it just here. Yep, she's nice, got the beautiful colours and whatever else. Pretty happy with what's going on. Great. They always look a little different when you get them back to camp, but that looks pretty good. All right. Back at camp, well that was an interesting little painting. Just grab this. Get some of those hot coals down in there to get it going again. Yeah, nice atmospheric painting. It's a beautiful morning really. The cloud's actually clearing very quickly. Quite often seems to be the way, doesn't it? Like when you want to paint first thing in the morning, there's a whole lot of cloud cover and all of a sudden, as soon as the first light's gone, or the first morning rays, the magic hour, the golden hour, all the clouds are going. Looks like it's going to be an alright day again. But yeah, nice little atmospheric painting. Beautiful orange peachy light with a twang of magenta in it. As it's the first rays spears under the clouds, finds a gap in the clouds and away we go. Lights Wilpena up beautifully. If we know where you are, it's gone again. Just getting the pallet clean. Got a couple of pallets. Got the smaller one too. Got to get that one clean. Getting the basic paint off. I've got paint in here wrapped up in Glad wrap. That's the excess paint that was any good. So that's little bits of paint I've saved for the next painting. But because it's been a couple of days now, this stuff will be starting to cure. So I've got to get it off to start again. So I just take the essential part off and then I'll start rubbing it clean like so. Once I get it fairly clean, then I'll put a bit of a terps across it. constantly rubbing oil paint off, it slowly takes the oils into the timber and you get this beautiful finish to the timber because it's constantly getting slightly oiled. It becomes a lovely piece of work in itself. Catch it before it goes. Just a little bit of terps. Some of the paint you can see left on there is paint that I've left dry on other occasions, and you just can't get it off now. That's why it's always good to do it on the day or the next day, depending on how cold the weather is. But the paint from yesterday and today is coming off quite easily. Alright, so I've just been to the car fridge. That's where I like to store all my wet brushes so they don't dry. Put them in a plastic bag and stick them in the fridge, and they will stay wet and not dry for a long time. But now it's time, after that big painting, I've ended up with a lot of paint on the brushes, all sorts of different colours, so I'm going to clean them up again and start from scratch. Once I've cleaned the brushes in the terps, the dirty terps, I then get the dirty terps and pour it into this jar here, and what happens is all the settlements that are in the terps, they settle to the bottom and you end up with clean terps on top. So then you get to reuse that next time you do your brushes, pour it in, do your brushes, pour all the sediments and dirty terps in there, the sediments settle on the bottom, and after time the sediments get higher and higher and higher, but it's a way to keep your terps clean. Clean enough so you don't have to keep throwing the terps out, you can just keep reusing it over and over and over, which is great. Alright, well that's those ones cleaned up with terps. Now you can see why I like to use palette knife. It saves a lot of this sort of stuff. So brush is good though for softening some of the knife work, but if you can get the painting done with just a knife, it's a lot easier to clean up. Anyway, let's put some soap through this and we're good as gold. Well, there's a crazy wild front coming in, hence all this wind. Let's mix up a bit of food here. There's a bit of leftovers from the other day. Whoa! Yeah. There's supposed to be quite a lot of rain coming, so just wondering if I should hang around here or get going, because the problem is, the rain's not a problem. I've got the cottage, that's great. But the roads can get really wet as soon as they get a bit of water on them. They just turn to an ice skating rink. And so I haven't got a lot of dirt to get along on the road. Like I don't have to go too far on dirt before I'm on the blacktop. But at the same time, I might be here for a few days if I stay tonight. So I'm just trying to work out what to do about it all. Either way, I need something to eat. She's all starting to spear through beautifully now. Look at that light. Magic. Things are definitely coming along now. I'm starting to get happy with what's going on. Pulled the camera around a bit more so you can see it more straight on. So, any of the paintings that I've done on this trip so far, if you like what you see and you enjoyed the trip as much as I did, I'm going to offer a 25% discount for any of the paintings that were created in this particular journey. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description below. We'll use something simple, my initials, RME25 for the discount code. Take that discount code to my online store, add it in at checkout and get your 25% and get a slice of the adventure. Alright, well thank you again for watching. I really do appreciate it and I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time,